There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable. Like the majority of people in Hollywood, they're just not stable human beings.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Looks like people just won't let Rachel Zegler catch a break, and it's all thanks to her much criticized Snow White remake. Ever since the film began production, Rachel has been wrapped in one controversy after another. But things have taken an even wilder turn lately, as big names like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly have jumped into the conversation, openly sharing their thoughts on why the film flopped. Their take: Rachel's just too woke.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
From her rumored tension with Gal Gadot to the embarrassingly empty theater seats, the film barely made a dent in Disney's usual box office magic. But now things are getting even spicier because Rachel Zegler has finally clapped back. And guess who's at the top of her list? None other than Candace Owens.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
So how exactly did she respond? Let's find out. People were already side-eyeing this movie way before it even hit the theaters. The moment Rachel Zegler did that now infamous interview, the one where she boldly declared that there's no prince coming to save her and that she'll be the leader she knows she can be, fans were like, did you just toss the whole fairy tale in the trash?
This truly is the worst casting, maybe in the history of the film industry.
People are heated, fuming about the whole feminist angle Disney tried to pull with the new Snow White. The internet's been flooded with videos and commentaries, especially from outspoken critics who aren't holding anything back.
Name is Rachel Zegler. Zegler? I don't know. Zegler. Okay, there's something wrong with this person. She's also known as the star of Snow White.
Candace Rachel Zegler and the whole reboot by saying people like her are constantly chasing attention and will say outrageous things just to stay in the spotlight. According to Candace, no amount of attention is ever enough for her.
And to constantly say things that are like atrocious because they're looking for attention and they can never have enough of it. They can never have enough of it.
And it didn't stop there. She also threw shade at the original story, calling it weird because according to her, Snow White basically falls in love with a guy who, in her words, stalked her. Yikes. That comment alone had a lot of people clutching their nostalgic pearls.
You've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
And then there's this whole debate around what Candace is calling the big bad feminists. The criticism that these modern rewrites are basically shaming the classic fairy tale dream, meeting a charming prince, falling in love, and living happily ever after. According to Candace, now it's like, no, don't dream of being rescued, go be the prince, grab a sword, and fight the dragons yourself. Which, let's be honest, not everyone's here for.
Big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince and be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after? No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword.
The rant didn't stop there, though Candace totally called out the idea that feminism now means women should just become men, like act like them, think like them, and apparently ditch anything that makes being a woman feel unique or special. The vibe was very much, is this really the win we were fighting for? Now here's where it gets even spicier. Candace Owens jumped into the chat and went off. She straight up told parents to boycott the movie, even if their kids begged to see it. Like, she's not playing.
I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
And just when things were already on fire, Rachel added more fuel by posting a video basically saying, if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks, talk about doubling down.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
The Snow White chaos just went from bad to worse, and Disney is definitely feeling the heat. The reboot that was supposed to be their big magical hit, it's now turning into a full-blown crisis. Yep, pictures are surfacing online showing empty theaters and primetime slots with 0 bookings. Like, not a single soul showed up. That's brutal. Disney execs were banking big on this one. They dropped over $270 million into the film, hoping it would rake in at least $100 million right out the gate. But reality had other plans. Despite having stars like Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot on the poster, the movie barely managed to scrape together $87.3 million globally, with only $43 million coming from US audiences. And the slow start? Blame it on the wave of negative reviews and the growing backlash that's been haunting the film since day one. What was meant to be a fairy tale comeback is now looking more like a box office horror story. A person on Twitter tweeted, "Opening Friday night for Disney's Snow White in IMAX. Only one person bought tickets for tonight. Yeah, this movie's gonna flop." Alongside the caption was a photograph of the cinema booking screen, showing just a single seat reserved. One of the biggest reasons people are dragging the film, the whole woke makeover. Yep. Instead of the classic Seven Dwarfs we all grew up with, Disney decided to rebrand them as a group of magical creatures, and let's just say that did not sit well with a lot of fans. So here's the tea. Rumor has it there was some serious tension brewing between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot over the Israel-Palestine conflict. Gal, being Israeli, has openly supported her country, while Rachel stirred the pot by posting Free Palestine on Instagram. That move apparently didn't sit well with Disney at all. Word is they even asked her to delete the post, but Rachel refused to back down. Things got so tense that Disney allegedly had to assign someone to monitor her social media, like a full-on babysitter for her posts. Yikes. And of course, the critics jumped right in, tearing into her from all directions. But wait, that's still not the end of it. When Donald Trump was reelected as the 47th president of the US, Rachel did not hold back. She hopped on social media, went on a full-blown rant, and let's just say she didn't sugarcoat a thing. After spilling her frustration for a few solid paragraphs, she ended with a mic drop moment that had people cringing. She wrote, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace."
You are not entitled to call for Trump supporters to be harmed. Like, you are actually not entitled to do that. And so let me just remind you, Rachel Zegler, of what the map looks like, just so you can understand when your Disney movie is coming out, how many people you are wishing harm upon. Like, this is America right now.
Despite all the backlash, Rachel Zegler seems totally unbothered, like zero cares given. While the internet is practically dragging her every day, and even national TV hosts are throwing shade, Rachel's out here acting like it's just another Tuesday. It's almost like she's saying, say whatever you want, I'm still booked and busy. And honestly, she's not just showing it through her attitude, her social media is screaming confidence too. Just recently, she posted a pic of her Snow White movie poster on Instagram and captioned it, "#1 movie in the world." Bold move, right? Especially with all the controversy swirling around. But if there's one thing Rachel's making clear, it's that the hate isn't slowing her down anytime soon. Despite all the backlash, Snow White has seemed to work for Rachel Zegler. In spite of Snow White's widespread controversy, it has officially earned the title of Rachel Zegler's second highest grossing movie. Disney's latest movie has become incredibly divisive as it updates the 1937 classic tale taken from the fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. As reported by the numbers, Snow White has become Zegler's second highest grossing movie, with another major Hollywood franchise securing the highest ranking every weekend since its release has yielded disappointing results, with Snow White having one of the worst box office performances in comparison to other live-action Disney remakes. Although the film made $87 million in its first 3 days, Snow White's bombing reviews and discourse have directed it towards continued losses, which is becoming progressively worrisome. Not only this, but Snow White's poor performance could have major ramifications for its leading actress, Rachel Zegler. However, Candace has much more to say about Rachel. She said,
"Because you just can't close your mouth. You just can't be sane, even when you do open your mouth. I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film, but rather she deserves to be in a padded cell."
Disney execs are totally freaking out right now. Word is layoffs are on the table and everything's getting scrambled behind the scenes. The Snow White remake? Scrapped. Left and right, this whole disaster has completely killed the vibe. And now, insiders are saying they're rethinking everything. The losses are looking to hit about $150 million, especially when you factor in all the marketing costs. It's a full-on mess. And Rachel Zegler? Yeah, her name is pretty much mud at this point. People are admitting she's got talent, sure, but her attitude, a total disaster. Nobody wants to work with her anymore. Her woke rants and sense of entitlement, yeah, they've turned her into a liability. Disney's already making plans to push this movie straight to streaming, but the bad press, it's not going anywhere. Online, she's become the butt of every joke. Rachel Zegler, more like the fairy tale destroyer. This whole thing went from a fairy tale to a full-on catastrophe, and it's not over yet. Disney picks this cocky newbie who openly trashes the original movie, runs her mouth constantly, and comes across as rude and entitled. She kicks off fights, angers the fans, and totally changes the dwarves into CGI nonsense. Then she gets into beef with Gal Gadot, and the movie tanks just $87 million against a $200 million plus budget. Now, Zegler's career is hanging by a thread. Disney's out millions and looking like they've made a huge mistake. Fans, yeah, they're done. Some are mad about her race, others about her attitude, and everyone's frustrated with the mess. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot's chilling and Zegler's become the joke. Can she recover? Will Disney give up on these remakes? One thing's for sure, this isn't a happy ending. Now, the real question is whether Zegler can bounce back from this PR nightmare, and if Disney will rethink its strategy on remakes moving forward. One thing's for sure, though, this isn't the fairy tale ending anyone was hoping for. It's a harsh wake-up call that shows how easily a beloved story can go off the rails when you mess with the wrong formula.